with RB Botto, the founder and CEO of Stage 32. And it's an online platform that we'll get into. And I want to first start out with how you came about realizing that there was a need for a platform like this. So if you could just talk a little bit about your background.
Sure. I started as an actor, mainly doing theater in New York, and then moved on to doing producing and screenwriting. And, the common theme throughout all these pursuits has been the need for not only to understand the business, but relationships. And it's a very underserved kind of thing that people, think that if they create great art, somebody's going to find it and they're just going to carry them along. But really, it all starts with relationships. You have to have those champions that are going to want to, first of all, that you're going to be able to get that material to, and then those who are going to take that material forward to people who can move the needle or move the rock on the project. So it was a combination of things. It wasn't just the idea of let's create a platform where everybody can get together, but it was also let's create a platform where everybody can get together, no matter where you are in the world, make connections no matter where you are in the world, but also a place for education. Because again, I think the other underserved part of film schools and of creatives in general, especially if you're now living in a hub where things are being created, New York or in LA, right, exactly, is you don't get the education. You don't understand how to navigate the business. It's hard to find great material where you can go and learn about the business. Everybody teaches the craft, but nobody really teaches the business. So that was, all those things were kind of the formula for why, what went into Stage 32.
And when did you found the company?
2011.
2011.
Part of the problem at the beginning was how do you convince people that they're not getting what they should be getting out of the broad-based platforms? So for example, we would have a lot of people that would say, well, I'm on Facebook. And then you would say to them, okay, what are you getting out of Facebook? Have you gotten any jobs? Are you making connections that matter? Has anything happened? And inevitably and almost invariably, the answer was no. LinkedIn, the same thing. LinkedIn has a place, but not really for creatives, So I was on LinkedIn. I was getting, hit up by limo drivers in the Midwest asking me to read their scripts, and and bankers from here, there, and everywhere else, looking for investment or offering to invest, in a project, but not really understanding what went into that. Yeah. So it was like, okay, there needs to really be a central hub where creatives are networking with creatives, and have it be concentrated networking. All film, all digital, all TV, all the time.
Highly specialized for the industry.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Cohesive so that everybody can see how the relationships all fit together and learn about what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, and I mean, the world is getting smaller by the day. I mean, one of the things that we recognized very early on was the fact that a lot of your filming was moving out of LA. And a lot of what was being created being created all over the globe. You started having a lot of co-productions. People filming in one country and going back and doing post in another. And as we were seeing that, you realized that you have units here, you have units in another country. How do you get to know those people? How do you find that crew? And there really was no centralized place for that until we started Stage 32. And we started this with 100 of my industry friends. I mean, that's really the way it started. I went to 100 of my industry friends and said, you're not going to ignore me. You're going to look at what I'm doing, and you're going to give me some feedback. And if you like what we're doing, invite at least 5 other creatives. And we've kept that mandate today. I want to call it, not the mandate, it's the ask, the request. When you sign up, we still ask for that. And we went from those original 100 people to 500,000 now worldwide.
500,000 people are using the platform now.
Yeah, on the platform, yeah.
In just 7 years.
In 7 years, yeah.
How
just
are they,
under it, yeah.
And what are the main ways that people are benefiting from using the platform?
Well, I mean, first of all, if you do live someplace remote, it's a great way to find people in your area that are doing the same thing you're doing. It's if you're a filmmaker, I use this example very often because it's one that sticks out to me. I was approached by a writer from Anchorage, Alaska, and she said, I'm a screenwriter. I was trying to get a short together. I wanted to produce it. I was going to film it, and she was like, I didn't know any actors. I didn't know. You live in Anchorage. My friends all work. They work in, like we said earlier, they work in banks, so they work at a restaurant, and she was like, this was the platform that I was able to go on immediately and see everybody in my area. Create a meetup in my area, meet all these people. But it's bigger than that too. It's how does that screenwriter in Anchorage, Alaska, get noticed by a manager or an agent in LA? And that's where it all comes into, that's where relationships really come into play.
Right.
And that's the beauty of this platform is that, you can network 24/7, 365. You don't have to leave your house. if you just put in the work and you treat it like a job and you understand the importance of it, you'll get ahead. It just takes time, you know?
Yeah, that's great. And it's so good, of course, for us to know up here, because it's the $1,000,000 question, of course, that everybody up here is asking, is how do you actually get some great script in front of a producer? Or
Absolutely. And it is it's funny because I met, it's my second year coming to the Seattle Film Summit, and I met just a tremendous amount of people last year who very creative and very, in it, to get it done and to win it, basically. And it's been fun watching some of them over the last year use Stage 32. A lot of them are back this year, and to see the progress they've made. Because I would say to them, last year when we were talking about this, I said, look, understand that this is a brick by brick thing. I think what is lost on a lot of creatives is the fact that when you sit there and you say, hey, can you please read this? Or hey, can you just watch this 8-minute video or this 8-minute short film I made? Or, can you look at my acting reel? It's only 10 minutes long. It's still 10 minutes.
Right.
And you're not the only person that's asking. So if you're asking a producer or you're asking a financier to look at a business plan, you got to realize that you're one of many. And the preference or the order that these people are going to look at a particular project or a script is going to be people they work with, trusted advisors that said, hey, you have to read this, and then really everybody else. And sometimes it's tough for people to get to that everybody else list or pile. So it is really, truly about relationships.
And I know we're going to get into this a little bit more, but on the training and resource development area of the industry too, I know your colleague Amanda is going to talk to us more about that, but that's a big focus too, is to make sure that when people are getting there or they're doing the right things, it's going to make a
Absolutely.
dent.
Part of the plan for Stage 32 from the beginning was not just to create a networking platform. It was to create a networking and education platform. I was looking for certain classes and webinars on a variety of subjects, especially business related, financing and foreign, pre-sales and stuff like that. And I found that the people that were teaching these things online, they did it 20 years ago, or they weren't qualified to do it. So we wanted to make sure that we were going to people that were actually in the trenches right now. And it took about 2 years to build up a really nice list of people that said, yeah, we want to give back, we want to be a part of this. And now we have almost 1,200 hours of education, and a lot of it is business oriented. There's craft, absolutely. Like if you're a screenwriter and you're having trouble navigating your second act, we have that, but we also have, what do you do when you're done? How do you take notes? What do the notes really mean? What's the note inside the note? How do you get to a producer? How do you get to a manager and agent? How do you stand out? All those things about the business are where our emphasis really lies, because it does change rapidly too, especially things like film financing. Everything changes so rapidly. What we have going on with digital and distribution and everything like that, it changes almost by the day. But we're on top of that, and we're bringing in the people that are doing it right now.
I know you're going to be speaking
tomorrow,
so
very excited.
Looking forward to hearing that.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, if you're a Seattle Film Summit attendee, or if this is being seen by anybody else, just understand that, the creating is half your job, in my opinion. It really is. You think about the amount of work that you put into your art. Writers say I got to write every day, and actors are like, I'm going to train I'm going to learn, I'm going to go on auditions all the time and everything like that. If you look at your networking and your relationship building the same way, and you look at it like a job, if you start doing that today, I guarantee you 6 months from now you can be like, wow, look at the people that are starting to communicate with me, and I'm starting to build up some trust. If you come from a very selfless place, I just want to emphasize that. Don't go in, look at my, go in, what can I do for you? If you go in from a selfless place, and everybody has something to offer everybody, I don't care if you're starting out and you meet an Oscar winner, even offering them a little praise without being creepy, or asking them a question about something that might not be the norm that everybody would ask them. Everybody has something to offer. Everybody wants to feel good about themselves and feel that they're being approached in a way that is, like I said, selfless. So important lessons to learn. 3 ways, real simple. Ask questions, offer compliments, share content. Something, if you find something that's really interesting, share it with other people. People love that. You know what I mean? It's a way in. It's
much better to share content than that's not just you asking.
Absolutely. Got to be selfless.
Yeah.
Well, this was awesome.
Thanks, Harvey.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.